and thank you to everyone that has gathered here this morning. It's a pleasure to be here in Canberra, Parliament House, a place where I have walked the halls many times over the past 3 years with only one goal and one mission. That is to raise awareness about a brutal and full-scale war that is going on in Ukraine. It's to give examples of how my family has been impacted and how our community has been impacted. I have my entire family in Ukraine. I had 6 of my family members on the front line. I only have 2 now because the rest have been injured. My cousin is currently based in Sumy, who I visited just a few months ago, 28 kilometers from the Russian border. And what I can tell you about spending a week in Sumy and spending time with my cousin is that Ukraine is under attack every single day. While I was there, I heard the sound of Shahed drones that were flying over my head as I was cooking dinner for my baby. I flew with my little 10-month-old son. I heard ballistic missiles explode over my head as I went outside. I heard the stories, first-hand accounts of how brutal the Russians are on the front line. My cousin is a frontline medic that evacuates wounded soldiers on a daily basis. And I can tell you that when we hear headlines from other world leaders that are supposed to be leaders of the free world, saying that Ukraine's the one that started the war and that President Zelensky is a dictator, all I can say is that when the war started 3 years ago and we had Russian tanks rolling down the streets of Kiev towards my grandparents' place, towards my cousins and my parents, I can tell you that they were Russian tanks, and I can tell you that it was Russia that started the war. When we hear comments about President Zelensky being a dictator, I'm sorry, all you have to do is look next door to see who is actually a dictator. President Zelensky was elected with over 70% of the popular vote, and he continues to work in Ukraine's best interests, despite the pressure that he is currently facing. So what I want to tell you from a Ukrainian community perspective is that we have suffered a lot over the past 3 years, and we don't want there is no other community that wants peace more than Ukraine and the Ukrainian community, but we would like a just peace. With over 140,000 war crimes that have been committed and registered in Ukraine, we would like justice for that. We would like the war criminal that is President Putin to be held accountable. We would like to see him at an international war crimes tribunal, not sitting at the negotiating table talking about Ukraine without Ukraine. I think Ukraine deserves to have a seat at that negotiating table to decide its own future and to discuss the path forward towards peace. And the path towards peace must be based on truth, not untruth, lies, and practically lines straight out of the Kremlin playbook that we are currently seeing in global headlines. Also, I would like to let you know that not only has our community felt the impacts of war firsthand, we have approximately 5,000 refugees, displaced Ukrainians, that have entered our shores seeking refuge and seeking a safe haven from Russian missiles and bombs. They've had their families torn apart, their homes destroyed. So we know exactly what the impact of this full-scale invasion has been. With us this week, we also have a Ukrainian defender, a 21-year-old boy that left his family behind, his mother, his 2 sisters, his girlfriend, to go and defend Ukraine on the front line, just at 18 years old. His name is Nazar Kaba. We currently have him in Sydney, and he's going to be undergoing full limb reconstruction surgery at the Macquarie University Hospital because of an enemy attack from the Russian Federation that has now completely left his right leg deformed and unable for him to perform his daily tasks. And that is what we are dealing with as a community. We're dealing with family members that are under daily attack. We're dealing with community members that have lost loved ones, sons, fathers, husbands, and we are dealing with trying to rehabilitate those that have been impacted by the war and to provide some sort of medical assistance to them. Our community feels the pressure firsthand, and that is why today across every single city, every single state and territory, there will be events held commemorating the 3rd year anniversary to mark Russia's full-scale and brutal invasion of Ukraine, and we will continue to advocate with the Australian government for their support. Considering there is a lack of moral leadership in other parts of the world, it's an opportunity for Australia to show courage, to show moral leadership, and to continue to stand with Ukraine, as both sides of government have continued to say that they will. Thank you.
Ambassador, can I ask you